Hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome to this meeting. I hope you can hear me okay.
We can get you.
Absolutely.
I can hear you.
Well, okay, thank you. So you're very welcome to this meeting, 2 o'clock Cameroon time, 2 o'clock in Nigeria, and it's also 2 o'clock in the UK. So I think we are ready to start. I'm so happy that you could take time to join us here today for this talk, okay? So you're welcome to Passports Beyond Borders, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all right, in this conversation. And I'm very excited because it's going to be an intense one. So today we will be discussing how to obtain a health and care worker visa for the UK, okay? And I urge you to buckle up because we have a lot of content for you today. And I hope you also have your writing material because there's lots of questions that we're expecting you to ask us in the course of the conversation or the presentations that will be going on today. So from the registrations, I was just looking through the list, and I could see that we have a very mixed audience, and we have nurses in the building, sorry, in the house. We have doctors as well. We also have persons who are not in the medical field. And I like the fact that we have all those varied backgrounds here. And one thing that I would like you guys to know about this visa is that it's a relatively new scheme, and there's also been updates on the visa, which we're going to discuss in the course of the conversation. So it's been a relatively new scheme, and there's a whole lot of curiosity, okay, around the requirements and also the application process. But before we dive into the topic of today, I would like to just introduce you guys to who we are and what our vision is, and also what we've been doing in the past couple of months, okay? So my name is Kimberly, and I am the founder of Passports Beyond Borders, okay, also known as PBB. And PBB is a media and travel platform, okay, which primarily provides information to expatriates and also international students. And our goal is to make travel information available and accessible to everyone. And we've been doing this through, if you're following us, we've been doing this through the articles we write on our website. So we're going to pop our website link in the chat box so you can have a look after this presentation, okay? So we do write articles on our website, we share information on social media, and we also host online events like the one we are currently at. And what we also do is to partner with top organizations to bring opportunities closer to you. And one thing that I would urge you to also do is to be part of our mailing list. So when you go to our website, you would see a subscription box where you can subscribe, and we do share information from time to time. All right. So we're primarily here because we have to discuss moving abroad, and it's such an interesting topic or area for me particularly. And moving abroad is that experience that is daunting and at the same time is life transforming, okay? And you cannot begin to fathom how transformative it is unless you experience it. So I'm just going to share a bit of my background so we do not take too much time because, like I mentioned, there's a lot to cover. So I moved from Cameroon in 2014, and I have had the opportunity to live in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And I have also lived in Malaysia for 3 years, and we're currently in the UK. Okay, and through that time, I wish there was a place or like a platform that I could go to read information or just have resources that are valuable to me, and also be able to read relatable experiences. And because I couldn't find that, I began to think about how to create that. And that's why we have this platform here today. And we are bringing you those experiences. So I really urge you to check out our website, okay, after this. So yeah, so like I said, we've lived across these countries and understand how important it is to have information that would enable you settle in seamlessly in a new country. And speaking about the fact that we are discussing this new visa scheme, which is an opportunity, also we want to emphasize that it is an opportunity that you can be able to take advantage of and also apply for the process yourself, because I know that there's a whole lot going on with people taking advantage of people based on these opportunities that come up from time to time. So going back to speaking about PBB, so we are in the process of creating this community and this platform. And because you're here today by default, you're already part of the community, okay? And over the last couple of months, we've been running a study abroad series, okay? And so far we have covered study in Russia, we've covered study in the United States of America. We've also covered study in Canada. And when we came to the UK, we decided to switch it up a little bit because we wanted to provide you with a hot topic, okay? Something that is really, really valuable, all right? So that's why we're doing this webinar today. So we normally should have been doing a study in the UK webinar, but we decided to do something else. So by the end of this webinar, what I hope you're going to learn is, first of all, I hope that you're really going to have fun with us, because we expect you guys to be a very, very engaging audience, and we want you guys to have fun at the end of this webinar. We want you guys to have a very valuable 2 hours, okay? And what I also expect you to learn at the end of this webinar is also to learn the requirements and the process, it takes to obtaining this visa, or just how to apply for the visa and obtain it. But then the presenters, I'm going to let the presenters talk about that. So I am also very excited to introduce to you our powerful presenters today. All right, so our first speaker of today is going to be Blessing Angaga. Okay, Blessing is a nurse and she's also a midwife by profession and currently serving in the UK, all right, in the role of clinical practice educator. So she's currently a trainee counselor and a master's student at the University of Derby studying psychology. So she aims, at the end of her study, she aims to be a clinical psychologist, and her goal is to see young people thrive. And Blessing also has a community where she coaches and encourages people, So our second speaker is going to be Barrister Benga Fasoro. Okay, you can also call him Barrister Fash. So Barrister Fash has 10 years of experience in immigration advisory services in the UK. So he's an expert on all categories of UK immigration, and that includes asylum, that also includes managing migration, European law, nationality and citizenship. So he has a very, very wide experience, and I'm so honored that, they both have taken the time to be able to talk to us today, because the information, I tell you, is going to be valuable. So please grab your pens and buckle up, because it's going to be intense. Okay, so Barrister Fash holds a triple master's degree from 3 reputable universities in the UK and in Belgium, and he also has 2 lovely daughters. All right, Barrister Fash and Blessing, you are absolutely welcome. It's such an honor to have you. So without further ado, it's already 8 minutes past 2 o'clock. I will let us go straight into why we are here today. So I'm going to bring up the first speaker. Okay, Blessing, are you ready?
Ready and present.
Okay, well done, well done. Okay, so are you able to share your screen?
Yes, I can do that. So I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay, so while waiting for Blessing to get ready, I would just like to know our audience, where you're watching from. Please put in the chat box. I'd like to know your city. I'm currently in Aberdeen in Scotland, okay? So please put in the chat box where you're watching us from, all right? And okay, I'm meeting people. So please put in the chat box where you're watching us from. All right, we'd like to know where you're watching us from so that we can give you a shout out. Hello, Vivian from Cameroon, Yaoundé, Cameroon. Please be an engaging audience, all right? We want you guys to have so much fun. Hi, Karine. Hi, from Celestial Echoes. Okay, welcome, Karine. Okay, Blessing, are you ready?
Yes, can you confirm if you can see my screen, please?
Perfect, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Kim, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for the very welcoming message. And as you said, you know, today is a very important day because we will be talking about very important topics. So we're looking forward to having everyone, you know, engage, ask questions if you are in any doubts, because that's why we're here today. Myself, Barrister Fash, and Kim, we're here to help you. We're here to provide answers, hopefully, to all the questions that you have for us. So if you have any questions, as Kim has said, you can drop that in the chat box. Someone will pick up those questions, and at the end of the day, we can talk about them. And you can also write them down as well to ask later. I like a very interactive session. So in the course of my presentation, I may ask 1 or 2 questions to all of us as an audience. Okay. So without further ado, I'm just going to start. So people popularly know me as Councillor B. So if you've heard Councillor B anywhere before and you've never put a face to the name, so this is the face today. So I will be talking about everything you really need to know. Well, hopefully everything you need to know about relocating to the United Kingdom as a healthcare assistant. This is one topic I think that is everywhere on social media. It's gone viral. You know, a lot of people are quite keen to know how to take this route because it is a new route, and of course everyone is excited. So we're going to be looking at some of the things that are key and that you should really know about this program as a whole. So once more, welcome to this presentation. I must say, if you're here today, then you've really taken a brave step. And why do I say so? Because as you can see, not everyone can be here today. I think we're like 38, 40 participants on Zoom today. So everyone could not be here. So if you're here today, it means you're determined to make change. You know, you're determined to take a positive step towards your future. And that's amazing. Other people, you know, probably thought, oh, I can't pay $20 or I can't pay 10,000 francs or you know, 20,000 naira or whatever amount you paid to be on this presentation today. You know, and if you're not ready to get adequate information, then you're not ready to make positive change. So again, well done for being on this presentation today. One of the questions I'm going to be asking us is your big why. So what is your big why? You know, why do you want to relocate to the UK as an HCA? That's a healthcare assistant. So you will be seeing HCA as we go along in some of the slides. Because this question is very key. It's something for you to reflect on and to ask yourself, you know, why do I want to move? Is it just to go to the UK? What's in the UK? You could go to America, you could go anywhere. Why UK? Why as an HCA? Or is it just, you know, to change countries? You really need to have a why. Whatever step you decide to make in life, you need to have a why to it. So I want to hear from a few of us. I'll stop sharing my screen for a while. Why, you know, you want to relocate to the UK as a healthcare assistant. Okay, so I like volunteers. So who's ready to go? Who wants to tell us why they want to relocate to the UK? I can see someone smiling nicely, so I'm probably going to pick. Regina, I can see your bright smile. Would you like to tell us why? You can unmute yourself. Good, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Regina. Thank you for granting me the privilege to speak. I wish to relocate to the UK for further studies. Currently, I'm doing a master's in chemical pathology. That's medical laboratory. I'm also doing an HND program. That's higher national diploma in nursing. So I was really hoping to relocate to the UK so as to better up my career in nursing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Regina. That's a good why. You know, if you're looking for career progression, then that's a good step. Okay, like to hear from someone else. I can see, yeah, I can see Eric. Yes, Eric, you can go ahead and you can unmute yourself. Okay, did we see Eric there? Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Good, lovely.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Kana Katidian. I'm in Cameroon, and currently I'm a home-to-be mother. And one of the things why I wish to relocate to the UK, firstly, is because I'm really passionate about healthcare.
Okay.
I'm passionate about healthcare. My mom, when I used to see her when I was younger, going with her blouse as a nurse, going to school and everything, and reading her books, it just keeps me going. It just keeps me going. And I have passions also. I really want to work with the children, like work with the children, work with the olders and everything. And I have a passion for healthcare since I was a teenager.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kathy. That's a very good why. I like how you've repeated, you know, being passionate about healthcare and delivering care. That's a very good why because being a healthcare assistant is all about that care. So thank you very much for sharing. Eric, I'm not sure if you still want to share. You can go ahead. If not, could you just mute yourself back, please? Okay. Yes.
Yeah. I want
We're struggling a little bit with the network, I think. Okay. So maybe if you just mute yourself and then I'll probably call you back up. Again, when you're ready, you can just indicate and then I'll call you back up. Okay. Thank you. So thank you all for sharing. That was really amazing. So for all of us on the call today, on this Zoom meeting today, can you know, you just take some few minutes, you know, in your spare time and have a good reflection as to why you want to relocate to the UK. So I'm just going to proceed with sharing my screen again and we'll proceed. Okay, great. I hope everyone can see my screen. Kim, could you help me confirm, please?
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, so this is my why of doing this presentation today. So I'm keen, I'm determined to share information about this UK SCA program because there's lots and lots of deception, wrong information being carried around social media. So I'm particularly here today to really tell us the truth about this program, what it entails, what you should be expecting, you know, to come across as you go along pursuing this road. So that's my big why of being here today. Now, who is a healthcare assistant? We might be talking about healthcare assistants, but who is actually a healthcare assistant? So first of all, this is a full-time career. I've had a lot of myths about who healthcare assistants are, and I really feel sad, you know, with some of the things you hear around or some of the questions, you know, that have been asked. So it's a full-time career. Anyone could be a healthcare assistant. It's a job where you will be respected as any other individual in any other field. Also, healthcare assistants, you could hear them being addressed with different names, such as nursing auxiliaries or support workers. So those are just other names as well. Now, again, healthcare assistants, they are very vital. They're a very vital part of the healthcare system as a whole, because the support medical staff, the support patients, carers, and all service users in general will work in different, areas, different locations like hospitals. We do have what we call GP surgeries. They're just like community clinics, if I put it that way, nursing homes. So healthcare assistants could basically work in several, locations or departments. They work under the supervision of qualified nursing staffs, and healthcare assistants really carry a wide range of roles. They do a lot of things like support, information, provide information to patients, and support families as well. So it's quite a rich role, if I put it that way. But what do you really need to have? What do you need to have in order to be a healthcare assistant, a good healthcare assistant? You need to be caring, you need to be kind. Someone did talk about being, I think that was Kati, being compassionate, being passionate. You need to, first of all, have that passion for what you want to do or what you want to get into. Because trust me, if you're just getting into something for the mere fact of getting into it, you will get bored, you feel frustrated because you're not going in with your whole heart. So in order to be, an effective, a good healthcare assistant and love what you do, you have to have that passion for it. You need to be kind, cheerful, very friendly, because you will be dealing with family members, a lot of them, with patients, and this sort of patients need that compassion from you. So you need to have that friendly nature. You need to be willing to be hands-on with patients, so offer support as needed, to do personal care tasks, like washing, toileting, feeding, because that's what the role is about. It's offering that in-depth care. That's why you must be friendly and you must be cheerful. You must be able to follow instructions and procedures as well. It's quite key to this role. And you must be able to work as a team. As a healthcare assistant, you will find that there is a lot of teamwork. Sometimes you need to support, patients do maybe some tasks or carry out some activities, and you're not able to do it on your own. So if you're not a good team player, I bet you will struggle. So you must be able to work as a team. Okay, so we're just moving on. Also, what do you need to have? Good communication skills, including listening. So remember, communication is all about not just talking, but when you talk, you need to be able to listen. So you must have communication skills, which is quite key to the role, because like I said earlier, you will be in communication, not just with patients, with family members, with other colleagues, your managers, auditing teams, just a whole lot of different people in different roles. So you must be able to communicate effectively. You must be organized, because you would have a list of jobs, you have the whole day in front of you. You need to know what to do when and how to go about your activities. And sometimes you would have to probably work on your own. You have to maybe be a lone worker, working in a patient's home, and you're all on your own. So you need to be organized to plan your tasks, plan your day. So organization skills quite important. You need to be very observant. Your observation skills are quite important, because there are things you could notice because you are there with this patient almost on a daily basis. You see a lot of things that happen to them. You can quickly pick up changes. You can quickly tell if they're not happy because you know them, if they're in pain, if something strange is going on with them, because you are there with them, you're offering in-depth care. So, you have to be very observant to pick up a lot of clues from them. So these are other skills you need in order for you to be an effective healthcare assistant. What healthcare assistants are not. I really, when I talk about this, I'm quite passionate because, you know, people say a lot of things. Oh, I've had lots of questions. Am I going to be a houseboy? Am I going to be a house help? Am I going to be a babysitter? Am I going to be an errand boy or an errand man or car washers? No, you're none of these things. The previous slide, I did mention you will, you know, you are a full-time worker. It is a job on your own. One thing you discover about the working system in the UK is everyone is respected, no matter what you do. If you are a domestic helper, for example, you clean and all of that, you are respected as anybody else. That's your job, because if you're not there, that will not be done. So you need to counteract. If you ever think this is what you're coming to do in the UK as a healthcare assistant, then I'm here to counteract that myth, because no, everyone has got their own job specifications, and we've seen some of the things you will be doing as a healthcare assistant. Okay, just moving on. Again, this is just like a list of some of the tasks or jobs or activities you would do and your roles and responsibilities. We can see you'd have to do washing, you know, wash patients sometimes, give them bed baths, serve meals, because you're there to support them, especially because most of them might not be able to carry out their normal activities of daily living independently. So you're there to support them, help people to move around, you know, to make up their beds, make them feel comfortable. You can also monitor their observations, like taking temperature polls, you know, weight, even doing ECGs. There's lots of things you can do really as a healthcare assistant, as long as you've got the training for them. So for example, if you're trained to take observations, then you will be doing it. We do have healthcare assistants who put catheters in, take catheters out. So very, you know, different roles. And as long as you're trained, then you're able to do those. So again, your roles would really depend on where you work, you know, what department you will be practicing in. So for example, we've just seen if you were in the hospital, maybe if you were in, say, a GP surgery, these are some of the other things you could be doing, you know, sterilizing equipment, doing health checks, taking blood samples. We do have a lot of healthcare assistants that take blood samples to send off to the lab. So you can see that there are varied, you know, tasks that you could be doing. Wound dressings. We have lots of healthcare assistants who carry out wound dressings in GP surgeries. You could do urinalysis, like a urine dip. So lots of different things, restocking rooms and all of that, consulting rooms. So just different things. Okay, so it's quite a varied role. So we're going to be moving on to what you require to relocate to the UK as an FCA, as a healthcare assistant. But just before we move on, I'd just like to ask another quick question. And this question is, you know, what are some of the things you've probably heard about? So just before, you know, I talked about the myths, some of the myths that we've had or we've heard about healthcare assistants. What did you think, you know, you would have been doing or you will be doing as a healthcare assistant when you eventually relocate? So again, I'm just going to come back to, okay, I'll stop sharing for a while. So there, oops, not yet. Okay, so I'd like to hear from a few of us, again, one or two people, you know, what you thought this role was all about, what you imagined you would be doing, and if you had any, you know, sort of weird things about healthcare assistants, then would like to know. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, one person. I just need one person. I can see somebody smiling nicely. Louise and Kim. Yes, lovely. Okay, if you just unmute yourself, then you can share with us. Thank you.
Yeah. Good day. Thank you for the meeting. One of the things that I, first of all, by it's something that it's a family thing. We have been taking care of patient with traditional medicine, because I come from that background where we take care of patients because my grandmother with great grandmothers, we used to treat they treat stroke patients. So sometimes they'll come and abandon them. We wash them, take care of them. So it's a little bit, it's normal to me from growing up. So it will not be something that will be strange to take care of an old person, a young person, women, men, because I've seen all sorts and people from different places when I was in Bamenda, even though I'm present in Yaoundé. So I think in all the departments you have talked about, I can play a role there without any problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Luis. That was quite nice to know that at least, you're quite versed and quite aware of what this role entails, and you've had this very good experience. So good. Thank you very much for sharing. If anyone has had or heard anything strange or about healthcare assistance, you can always pop that in the chat box and we will come back to it. So I'm just going to carry on with the slides. So moving on to what you need as a healthcare assistant to relocate to the UK. So we're looking at documents. What would you need in terms of documents? A valid passport, of course. You won't be able to travel without a valid passport. Make sure you're, whenever you decide or you are due to apply for your visa, your passport should be at least 6 months in date. So you don't want anything less than that. Okay, so a valid passport. You need UKV IELTS General. I've had this question a lot. What kind of IELTS are we taking? Is it academic IELTS? Is it UKV? Is it general? So if you need to write this down to be sure, then you have to, so that you don't go for the wrong one. So you need UKV IELTS General. I've had people do UKV IELTS Academic. I think I had someone's, I think a family member also used that and she didn't have any issues. But from what I've seen, a lot of employers are asking for UKV IELTS General. So if I'm to encourage anyone to take IELTS, then it will be UKV IELTS General, strictly for this program, for the HCA program. And what's the score? Another familiar question is, what score do I need for my UKV IELTS? So you need from band 4.5 upwards. But again, I have seen most employers asking for a band of 5, so 5 and above. It's not a huge demand. So if you just study for a short period, you can get this score. So it's quite a nice one and a good opportunity for us. So yes, you need UKV IELTS, you need the care certificate. You can do this individually, independently, which will be a very good boost to your CV. Some employers, in the course of looking out for employers, and if you get one, some may offer to do or pay for the care certificate for you. They may do it for free, or they might decide if they're employing you, to get this from your pay when you start work. So different employers, have got different requirements and all of that. So you could do this online. There are different providers. If you just check online, you see different providers, but what you need to make sure of is to make sure they are accredited. Okay, a driver's license is a plus for you. So it's not an obligation, it's not obligatory, but if you do have a driver's license, then it's a plus. Again, some of the employers who are currently employing are employing for the community, so they need people who can literally drive around, to patients' homes or one place to the other, to carry out their jobs. So if you've got a driver's license, if you're able to drive, then that will be a plus for you. But that doesn't mean if you're not able to, you're disqualified. No, so it's not obligatory. So what may happen is, with your driver's license, wherever country you are from, once you get here, you could literally use that for a year. So what your employer might do is to provide you with some lessons, maybe for a few months. Again, it depends on that employer. Might provide you with driving lessons for a few months and provide you with a company's car just to help your movement around. And then later on, you need to take the UK's driving test and follow all the necessary procedures to get the UK's driver's license. Okay. You need to be double jabbed. You need to have been vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, because you are literally going to be dealing with a lot of vulnerable people. So most employers, especially if they are recruiting from overseas, will need you to be vaccinated. So this is something you need to consider, you need to think of. If you don't want to have the vaccine, then it's a whole thing that you need to look into. And you need to show proof, of course, of your vaccination status. A couple of, I think, vaccines that are very familiar to the UK, we have like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and the Moderna is a new one, which is just recently coming. But these are common UK vaccines. I think most of these we have around the world as well. Other countries do have other ones, which I think could still be accepted. But these are the UK most common vaccines. If you have a chance to take any other courses in healthcare, it could be anything. It could be first aid course, it could be basic life support, just anything to boost your CV. I'm going to talk about our CV shortly, and I would explain why I really insist on like boosting your CV. So if you can take any other course, then again, that's an advantage for you, that's a plus for you. If you have already, then well done. You need an updated CV, of course. So if you have a CV which is not updated in the last 2 to 3 months, then you need to do that. You need a TB certificate. And this, if you're in Cameroon, I'm not quite sure about other countries, but if you're in Cameroon, then this TB certificate is obtainable from Jordan Medical Center, that's in Yaoundé, and that's the only acceptable immigration. They've got a link with the UK, so that's the only acceptable center where you can do your TB certificate in Yaoundé. You need a non-conviction. You need a non-conviction. It should be within 3 months. So also something to consider. Okay, you need 2 references. So whatever employment you've done in the past, you need 2 references. So it's quite nice to be aware of that. So you can think of who would be able to be a good reference or a good referee for you. Experience, if you've got any experience in the healthcare setting, then that's a very big advantage for you. Now, while saying this, it doesn't mean if you haven't got any experience, you are not welcome to go ahead and try out this program. No, but if you got experience in healthcare, you are on the advantageous side. You might be prioritized, because they consider that you've got this experience already. And because they are taking very few people from overseas, they really would try to prioritize those who have got experience. So if you haven't got any experience, you've got a chance to do that. You can achieve this. You can do the level 2 NQV course in social and healthcare. It's like a 6 to 9 months training course for healthcare assistants. I think we have some providers that will do that. I think various countries. So again, wherever you are, you can look into this. Again, you can gain experience just by volunteering, for a few months in any hospital, as a healthcare assistant, offering help, offering support of different natures and things like that. That could be that can be able to give you the experience that you need, and that can also give you an opportunity to get references. So again, if you don't have any healthcare background, then you've got an opportunity to do so. Okay, please note, you do not need all of these documents to start looking for an employer? No. So all the documents I've mentioned, you do not need all of this to look for an employer. So what would you need to start looking for an employer? First, of course, your valid passport, because this is one of the things employers will ask you firsthand. An updated CV, well structured, we're going to look at that, because you need, this is where they will know you from your CV. So you need an updated CV, and this is what you use, of course, to apply for jobs that you come across. In this CV, you must be able to show that you have a healthcare background and have gained some experience. We've talked about how you can gain that. If you already have this experience, then good for you. You must be able to show that you've done some basic training around healthcare delivery. Again, I said this could be anything as basic as just doing a first aid course, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days training and all of that. So just basic things. So really, these are some of the things you need firsthand to start looking for an employer. If you've done your care certificate, that's you're on an advantageous side. These things are not compulsory, like you need to have them to apply for jobs, but it puts you on a higher chance. You can imagine thousands and millions of people applying for this program. So if you're looking to have a higher chance, then you need to take steps that will put you on the forefront. Okay. This is just saying, if you're already a trained nurse, you've automatically covered some of these areas, or trainings that you might need, because you've done them probably during your training. We've talked about driver's license being a plus for you. Now, if you must succeed in getting an employer, then you must be radical. You must be radical. Now, by radical, this is what I mean. This program is fairly new. We've said this over and over again. It's new. So there are millions of people applying, looking for employers all over the globe, Cameroon, Nigeria, even Europe, the whole of Africa. There's just lots of people. So you are not alone. So, if you cannot sit and be comfortable with, I've applied for one job, or I've applied for 2 jobs. You need to apply for jobs in order to stand a chance, because lots of people apply. That same company you're applying to, 200 people are applying to that same employer. So what would make the difference? Why would they choose you over 200 other people? Now we're going to look at some of those things shortly. So what will your employers be doing basically? So your employers will choose the best. That is what they will do. They will choose the best. So first, if you've been using the same CV, using the same old strategy to look for employers, for those of you who have started this program already and you're not getting any results, then it's time to improve on something. It's time to do something new. You need to think, okay, why am I getting rejection emails, from employers I've employed? So what do I need to change? What do I need to add on my CV? What do I need to do differently? So these are the things you need to think of. Okay. Again, we're looking at how to find employers. In order to see jobs that pop up, because employers put jobs every minute, every second, you need to create a job alert. There are different search engines, job engines that you can use to create alerts. Like you have Indeed, you have Total Jobs for the UK. So you could literally set an alert for, tier 2 sponsorship. Vacancies for healthcare assistants from overseas. Create that kind of job alert. The moment there's a job of that respect, then you will get that email straight away. Because you don't know when those jobs, the job alerts will be put, on those websites. So what has happened sometimes is an employer can literally put up a job vacancy like now, and in the next minute, if they get 100 applications, they close down the job. Maybe the end date for that application was in 5 days' time, but same day they've got all the applicants they need and they are ready to choose from those 100 persons. So you need to have that job alert to see jobs straight away as they come in. equally, whilst you're looking for employers, you need to make sure that your start of salary is £20,480. This is what the visa office requires. So even if you get an employer and they're offering you £19,000, this is per year. So this is per year, say £19,000 per year. Yes, you've gotten an employer. At the level of the visa application, you will be denied, because they UK embassy would expect that you earn a certain amount in order for you to come into the UK under a work sponsorship visa or under a work visa. So you must be looking for employers that are ready to offer you £20,480 per year. So if you've been applying and looking for employers that are not offering this sort of amount, then you'll be looking in the wrong place. So you need to start looking for the right employers. Remember, you're looking for employers who are offering tier 2 sponsorship visas to candidates from overseas. Some employers are offering tier 2 sponsorship visas, but they are offering just to candidates in the UK. So for example, I could be here as a student, and I decide to apply for a sponsorship visa as a healthcare assistant. So I might be prioritized because I'm in the UK already, as opposed to probably someone who is not in the UK, because they're trying to reduce costs, trying to reduce time, contacting someone from elsewhere and all of that. So you must make sure you're looking for the right type of jobs. It must be tier 2 sponsorship for overseas candidates. Okay. Employers will have first-hand information about you from your CV and nowhere else. This is why I said earlier I was going to tell us about our CVs. So your CV must be rich. It must be up to standard. It must be, really rich. Remember, these employers don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They've never seen you before. They don't know where you come from. Everything they will know about you will be on that CV. So you need to keep any irrelevant information away and make sure your CV is up to standard. Okay, now what would employers offer you if they eventually decide to recruit you? A certificate of sponsorship. This is what you need in order for you to apply for your visa as well. And if you get a certificate of sponsorship, then you're in a good place. Some may ask you to cover the cost, so you need to be aware. Don't think this is a scam, because some people have thought, oh, maybe employers are asking us to cover the cost. Yes, some will ask you to cover the cost, some may not. Some may cover the cost for you free of charge, others may cover and decide to get their money back once you start working, and they'll cut it consecutively from your salary over a couple of months. You will get an employment offer letter. Please make sure you read your contracts appropriately, because there are lots of things contained in there. Some employers will offer you this employment, but you are bound to them for 5 years, for 3 years, and you're not allowed to leave them. And if you have to do, then you are going to be paying a whole lot of monies if you leave before your contract ends. So there are lots of things you need to be reading in your contracts if you eventually get an employer. Some may offer accommodation for a month or two, others may not. So remember, different employers have got different policies. Some may offer you a company's car. We've talked about this for about 6 months, others may not. They will offer you training, of course, because you need to be trained. A DBS, so a DBS is like a non-conviction. So that's what is used in the UK. So others may pay for this once you eventually get into the UK for you. It could be free. Again, others may cut this from your pay as you carry on working with them. So what would employers not provide? This is key for you to understand, so that already you can think of the whole cost of this program. Visa costs. So for this particular program, most employers will not be paying for your flight, for your visa, for your flight costs. So you'd have to bear the cost of those. We have what we call maintenance. So in your certificate of sponsorship, there's kind of like a box that could be ticked to say, yes, we're maintaining this candidate, or tick to say, no, we're not maintaining this candidate. Now, I think most employers are not offering maintenance, neither for you nor your dependents. And what does this mean? If an employer decides to offer you maintenance, so literally you don't need a bank statement at all when you apply for your visa. So you need a 0 bank statement. But if you're not, if they're not offering you maintenance, then you need to pay. You need to have a bank account, so you need to have a bank statement when you apply for your visa, and you need approximately £1,270 in that account. And roughly in CFA, you can do the math. You can multiply this by, say, 760 francs, and you can kind of know the rough amount in CFA. That would be the cost. Again, for your dependents, same thing. So if you're coming in with a spouse or husband or wife kit, then each person will need to have this sort of amount in their bank account when applying for the visa. Okay, so remember, we've said healthcare assistants could work in different environments, hospitals. You could be a living carer, so you could literally be staying in someone's house and looking after them. You could be in communities like GP surgery, you could be in a nursing home, or you could be in a patient's home. So maybe you just come and go every day or during your working hours. So again, you need to think of, where do I really want to work? Do I want to, be in a patient's home, stay there, live in my own house, go to a patient's home? So all of those sort of things, is quite nice to know what you will be getting into. Okay, so moving on to another interesting part, how to create a good CV. So we'll just look at a few tips. So make sure you need to think structure, because structure is the key to having a good CV. So your CV must be organized, it must be coherent, and it must be attractive. Because remember, as I've said, this is the only thing that your employers will be looking at to understand you, to know you. So your CV must be well organized and structured. Remember, your CV is your whole worth work-wise in a piece of paper. So it has to really shine your light. It needs to shine your personality, who you are. Personal statement. So this is just kind of like a rough structure of what your CV should look like. So top page, you should have your personal details. This includes your name, your date of birth, email address, work email, contact number, and all of those. So whatever personal information you decide to put on there, but keep it formal, nothing informal. Your personal statement, you need to sell yourself. You need to let them know who you are, what's your purpose as far as healthcare is concerned, because you're applying for a job of a healthcare assistant. So what is your purpose? Just a spelling error there, on purpose. Your employment history. So after your personal statement, you have your employment history, however jobs you've done in the past. So you just put them in order. Again, you need to think structure. When you're writing down your employment history, your start dates, end dates, your employer, their address, and all of that. So it really needs to be organized. Trainings or educational history should be next. So whatever level of education you've attained, you can outline those. Trainings, whatever trainings you've done, that could also be outlined. Competencies, if you have any form of competencies, you're good in Microsoft, you're good in whatever skills, healthcare wise, or it could be other things. You're a good communicator and all of that. So you're translator, you can translate. So just different things. Good in Excel, good in PowerPoint. They like to also see that you're very computer orientated, because you will be using a lot of computers. So any competency that you have, basically you could outline that. Hobbies, again, if you want to, it's not a must, but if you're keen to put that. References, you could put references underneath. Again, it's not obligatory, it's up to you. So this is just like a rough structure, but really it shows you a kind of an organized way of doing your CVs. Okay, I hope you're taking questions down, because at the end you could ask your questions. Okay, now think content. What should it reflect? Remember, your CV should reflect your personality, it needs to make it reflect to you. I need to be able to read your CV and say, oh, I think that's a good candidate, based on that CV. So what you should show your employer, you should show you're compassionate, show how empathetic you are. These are things you could say in your personal statement when you sell yourself. Show that you're much of a team player. Show how diverse you are. Remember, the UK is a very diverse place. You'll be dealing with people from different backgrounds, and they like to know that you're diverse. Show how caring you are, how committed you are to your role, and also your experience. So remember, when you do your employment history and all of that, they like to really see that you've got experience in certain things around healthcare. Okay, our next brief topic is job interview preparation and tips. So remember, you are maybe from overseas, your employers are here in the UK, so you need to think about, how you get yourself ready for your interview. And most of it will be done over Microsoft Teams. So it will be done online. So you really need to know how to use Microsoft Teams. And how would you need to appear? Remember, this is no different from any regular interview. This is like you sitting face to face in front of an interviewer, in front of an employer. So you must appear neat, you must look professional, you must be composed, you must be able to listen keenly and respond carefully. So I'm also into recruitment, and we do recruit like nurses, so we do interviews. And one of the things I've noticed sometimes is that some of the candidates are not keen to listen. So before we even finish asking the questions, they're fighting to respond. You really need to listen. If you're not sure, if you didn't understand, instead of answering what you don't know or what you didn't understand, it's best to ask your interviewer to repeat themselves, and they're more than happy to do so. So listen keenly and respond carefully. Do not try to overdo it. Again, some candidates just, you want to show how amazing you are, and you talk and talk and talk. So don't try to overdo it. Just be you, just be unique. Carry a smile from the beginning of your interview to the end. Again, we've seen candidates who are just like not interested, just it looks like someone is literally forcing them to be on that interview. You could give amazing answers, but you might not be taken for a role, not because you're not brilliant in your answers, but because of your whole personality during your interview. So really, your interview is a key part of you being employed for a job. So you really need to, make sure your whole act is quite good and professional on the day of your interview. You need to look and sound friendly. Just by talking, people can know the sort of person you are. So you really need to look and sound friendly, and a smile does the trick for you as well. So we've said you will be on Microsoft Teams. So you have to be very confident around using Teams. So if you're not sure, this is one of the things you really need to be doing now whilst you're looking for your employers or you're taking other steps in this program. Cameras will be on, of course, so they can see you and you can see them. Again, do not keep this for last minute. Like I've said, if you need to learn Teams, then you need to be doing it now. Okay, so don'ts on Teams. So these are things you shouldn't do when you're on a Microsoft team, meeting or interview. So do not keep looking away from the panel. So aim to maintain some form of eye contact, so if your head is always away, they can't see what you're doing, you're not keeping that eye contact, and that's a form of, that's like a non-verbal communication clue, which is very important. So make sure to maintain some form of eye contact. Do not try to look up answers to interview questions online. We've had this during interview sessions. So because it's online, we've had people basically with their phones, trying to look up for answers. The interviewers will know that you're looking up answers. So please don't try to do that at all. And again, do not appear less concerned. You need to show that you were ready for that interview, that you came there ready to go back employed. So make sure that you look interested in what you're doing. Again, do not talk too much and override your speaker. Aim to listen more. Again, do not try to attract pity, sort of, or if you put this sort of face, they're looking for bold people. They're looking for people who are confident in themselves, and that is what you need to portray. Again, do not intentionally turn off your camera. Maybe you think, oh, I can just switch off my camera for a few seconds and look up something quickly. No, it's not accepted. So you need to make sure your camera is on. Do not arrive for your Teams interview later than the required time. You need to be early enough. Remember, they're looking for good time managers. So being early for your interview session, again, will kind of a positive remark for you. Avoid areas with bad network. You don't want to keep going off on and off, your interview session, which can be quite difficult and frustrating both for you and your interviewers. So you need to make sure that where you are, where you will be taking your interview, it's a good area with good network. What are the type of questions that you should expect? These are personal questions about you. So you could be asked things like why you want to be a healthcare assistant, tell us more about yourself, tell us about your strengths and weaknesses, how would you describe yourself? This sort of question is a sell yourself question where you need to really showcase that, I'm empathetic, I'm a good team player, I can work under pressure, all those things. That's how you can sell yourself. So these are like questions about you. So you should expect questions about you. You would also have scenario sort of questions. For example, your patient is becoming aggressive towards you as you try to offer care. What would you do? So you have that sort of questions. Your patient has had a fall. What steps are you going to take? Tell me about the time you disclosed information about a patient accidentally, and you're thinking breach of confidentiality at that point. And knowing how able to respond to scenario questions. So these are some of the things you would expect, or some of the questions you can expect during your interview. Now, this is how to apply for an HCA visa outside the UK. So remember, you would be applying for a Tier 2 health and care visa. And these are some of the documents you need, which includes those we've already looked at, your passport, non-conviction, your employment letter, training certificates, birth certificates. If you're coming with a spouse, a child, then you need their birth certificates as well, your TB certificates, care certificates, your IELTS, and your bank statement. So those are some of the documents you will need for your visa. So this is quite important to understand how much you need for your application fee. So you need about £388, I think, for the first part of the application. You will need to also pay a service fee to the TLC contact. So this is basically where you will be doing your biometrics. Again, if you're in Cameroon, this is done in Yaoundé only. So service fee will cost you about £55. You can upload your documents online, all of those documents we've seen in the previous slide. You could literally upload all of this, and this might not be all you need. Of course, as you go along in the process, you might come across one or two more, so this is just some. So you can upload your documents online for no extra cost. Or if you decide to take your documents to the center on the day of your appointment for your biometrics, where you will be doing a fingerprint and having your picture taken, then you need to pay an extra charge of £20. You pick an appointment date for your biometrics by yourself when you do your visa application. There could be a charge to this date. So we have things like what we call flexi appointments. Basically, you could go for your appointment anytime on that particular day. You have like priority visas and things. So all of those could come with an extra charge. So it depends on what you really want to go for. So after your biometrics, after you've had your biometrics where your fingerprint and your picture will be taken, you have a wait time of about 21 working days to get a feedback on your application. Okay. Here we are. So that's just my bonus slide. So how much can you earn as a healthcare assistant? Remember, we've said the starting point is from at least £20,480. So this could be more, but your working hours will depend on the total amount you earn per year, so per annum. So we do have a start of 37.5 hours. So for you to be able to come to the UK under a sponsorship visa, you are restricted first to a limited number of working hours. And you should be able to cover a certain amount of working hours per week. So you're expected to cover at least 37.5 hours a week. So it could be more, and of course, the more the hours, the more you earn. But remember, your start-off point is £20,480. And what do I mean by restricted number of hours per week? So if you've already done your 37.5 hours, maybe that's what you've agreed with your employer, you are only allowed to do about 20 hours more. But due to the COVID situation, they've been letting people do a bit more, but that will be something you will need to make sure absolutely show off, and how much you can do as extra hours, because if you do more than the required hours, that could affect your visa in the long run if you intend to permanently stay in the UK after a number of years. So those are things to think of. Your working hours could range from 8 to 14 hours a day. So you could work 8 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, or 14 hours. Also, you must remember that you are bound by contract to your employer. Yes, you can do agency shifts, which are what we call extra shifts with other employers, but you are bound to your employer depending on the number of years you've signed off on that contract. So again, remember, if you must leave your employer, that will come with a cost. If you leave before the agreed amount of years you have to stay with them, it will come with an extra cost. And again, if you have to work with another employer, then you need to be thinking if you've got appropriate cover, because your current employer will not cover you if anything goes wrong, if you have problems with another employer. So those are things to think about. So that was my bonus slide. And thank you very much. And that brings me to the end of the presentation for today. And it was nice having you all listen very patiently. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Blessing. That was such a brilliant presentation, and it was so intense. I don't know if you guys felt that, but I feel like we need to go over certain aspects because there's lots of questions coming in. Please, can you mute yourself? Okay. There's lots of questions coming in, and there are quite a few things I would need us to address before we go to the next speaker, okay? Some people need a few clarifications. So
right.
One thing that I picked out when you were speaking, you mentioned the work ethic of the UK, and you mentioned teamwork, you mentioned communication, and you mentioned that you have to be organized. I mean, that cannot be overemphasized. It is highly important. And I'm not sure what happens. I'm very certain that everybody who has joined us here today is organized because they came on time, all right? So I must applaud our audience first. But it's such an important aspect, or those are important aspects that I feel that if you do not possess, you should start working on right now. If not, it's going to be a very huge struggle. Okay, so there's a few questions. I'm going to read from my phone. Please, can you mute yourself? Whoever is unmuted, can you please mute yourself? So somebody's asking, what's the difference between a healthcare assistant and a care worker?
Okay, good question. So basically, they're just different names, but would almost have the same role. So a healthcare assistant is a care worker, and you could, like I've explained in the slide, you could work in different places. So we do have a healthcare assistant could maybe work in hospitals, GP surgeries, and you could have maybe some people might call it a care worker, which is same as a healthcare assistant. You could maybe be working in someone's home, and some people also call it a home worker, a home care worker. So it's just, same names, just people being referred to in different ways, but it's sort of the same thing.
Okay, thank you for that. And I have a personal question, okay, because I'm very interested in career progression. All right, so if anybody comes into the UK as a healthcare assistant, what's the pathway to becoming a nurse?
very good question. So yes, there is. Let me start off I'll start by answering this question for those who are already trained nurses. So if you're already a trained nurse, then of course there is a pathway. So we do have the Nursing and Midwifery Council program for overseas nurses that you could follow. So that's a route that you could follow to become a nurse in the UK, which makes it much more easier when you're already in the UK, because you tend to have like support from your employers, especially, you know, if your employer is quite keen to support you to progress in that light, then you would really get a lot of support from them. So say, for example, we do have healthcare assistants where I work who came in as healthcare assistants, or they came in maybe as dependents, as a spouse, and they're now working as healthcare assistants, but keen to go back into their nursing roles. And as a hospital, we will offer them support and take them through the program that we do, but they will have to still go through the normal nursing and midwifery council program, that is doing the IELTS, getting the required score, writing the UK Nursing Board certification exam and all of that. But yes, that progression is very possible. If you're not a trained nurse, then of course you could from being a healthcare assistant, you could move on to what we call a foundation class, which is like a 1 year's program. And once you've done that, you could carry on to being a nursing associate. So that's like an 18 months program. So a nursing associate is just like well, not healthcare assistant, we call them nursing associate. So you basically do most of the things that nurses will do, except for a few things like not giving medications and maybe other things, but you're almost like a nurse. Then from being a nursing or a nurse associate, you could move on to, I think, another 18 months course and top it up to become a full-time registered nurse.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm just going to follow through. Gillian is asking, can you explain the UKVI IELTS exam? Or can you also explain what the care certificate is? So can you explain the IELTS? Is it the same like the IELTS, the general IELTS we have in Cameroon? Is it any different?
Yes. So UKV IELTS is just normal IELTS. I can say it might be a little bit simpler than maybe the academic IELTS. So if you just study normally like you're writing any other IELTS, then you're good to go. So it's just normal. You do the same things. You would have the speaking test. You would do the writing, the listening. The writing, the listening test as well, and of course the speaking test. So you just do everything the same, but it might be slightly easier, I would say.
Okay, and can you remind me what the pass score is for HCA?
4.5. So you need a band 4.5. But
Okay,
I think I did share today, some employers would need you to have from 5 and above.
Okay, all right, thank you for that.
There was a second question.
Gillian, yeah, I'm just going to finish this ones I have here. So she's asking, what about medical laboratory? Is it connected to HCA? So can a medical laboratory technician absolutely like come through that route?
Yes. So if you, as a medical laboratory technician, you're already in that sort of health field, so you've kind of got that health background. So absolutely, you could follow the healthcare assistant route. Yes.
Okay. So all the questions that are coming for all the visa related questions, I'm going to leave that for Barrister Fash to take those questions. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so somebody's asking, what if you leave your employer? Are you still allowed to get another job in the UK or get back to your country?
Oh, that's a very good question. So, like I said earlier, if you have to change employers before the stated time of your contract, so whatever your current employer would require you to pay off, or sort of what is stated in your contract, you'd have to do that. Now, if you're going to another employer, your current employer would have to inform the Home Office that you're no longer with them. So what this means is you will need a new certificate of sponsorship from your new employer that you're aiming to move to, and you will need to apply for a new visa, but you don't need to go back to your home country to do that. So what happens is, if your current employer informs your informs Home Office to say, we're no longer, or this candidate is leaving us, so you have 60 days to get a new employer, or after 60 days you're expected to be back to your home country. So you must make sure that before you do any move, you should have a new COS, and that you can have a new COS even whilst with an old employer to ease your transition. Yeah.
So see, just re-emphasizing that COS means
Certificate of
sponsorship. Yeah. Okay.
Someone should mute.
Right. I'm gonna have to mute this person. Okay. Right. Okay. So we do have a few questions coming in. Kathy is asking if you can apply if you don't have any experience. She's answered this already.
Yep.
Please, I didn't really get how to look for employers. So how to look for employers. Somebody's asking, Ayama is asking, I didn't really get how to look for employers in the UK, precisely their contacts. So in the course of the presentation, Blessing highlighted a couple of websites. So Indeed and all of those websites that employers will put their job offers on there. So what we can do is we can share those links, okay? And then, so what I'm gonna do after the webinar is that I'm gonna share the resources, all right? And those links that you're required to set a reminder, because she mentioned that you need to highlight or set a reminder for that tier of job category. So you get those reminders, and when you get those jobs, you can apply for them. Okay, so that part was covered. Okay, so how old should an IELTS test be for it to be valid?
2 years. So from the very first, when your results are issued. So if you wrote your IELTS and you get your results today, so from the date of its issue, in 2 years down the line, your IELTS should be valid. After that, it's not longer valid.
Okay. So Hebeziba is asking, can this visa gotten for healthcare assistant lead to permanent settlement? Just leave that question for Barrister Fash to take that, okay? So I would like for him to answer that. So Richard is saying, I'm confused at some point. Thought it's stipulated that once you do your education in an Anglophone university, you do not need your proficiency for the IELTS general.
No, there is a route that you could follow. For example, it's called NARIC. So if you've got like a BSc, you could take the NARIC route. But to be honest, I'm really not going to go into that, because it's not straight path. Well, it's straight, but your best shot is taking your IELTS. And to think that you need just a band 4.5, I will say take your IELTS once and for all. With the NARIC, you're still going to spend almost sort of £100 in things. But yes, if you've got a BSc, there is some kind of pathway you could follow to prove your English proficiency. But I have not seen employers who are accepting that. So again, remember, it's not just about Home Office. Home Office might, but employers want you to take IELTS.
Okay, so we're going to put, thank you so much for that. We're going to put a pause on the question and answer session, okay? We're going to come back to question and answer right after the next presentation. So let's give a chance for our Barrister Fash to talk to us about the immigration procedure and just, adding some more value to what Blessing has said, okay? So Barrister Fash, can you let me know if you can share your screen?
Thank you very much. Let me for the presentation. Yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good morning. if you are in another continent that is different from ours, it's a pleasure, and thank him for the invite. And it's also a pleasure to meet you all participants and blessing you've done. Councillor B, thank you very much. It's just a detailed presentation you provided. So it's an honor to be here. So my name is Benga Fashero. I'm your brother. I speak your language, and we have your heart and your support so that you won't get abused, and you won't be exploited, and you won't be banned from coming to the UK. So we know navigating immigration, especially the UK one, is complex and it can lead to frustration. But if you work and listen and get the necessary support, you'll be here. So I think my internet is playing, so I think might need to, if you don't mind, so that we can have a better presentation from me. So my video, I will just put it off.
No worries, that's fine.
Okay. So today I'm going to do the second aspect of the presentation, and I hope we'll learn and gain a lot from this. Thank you. So like I mentioned, I'm the leading expert at Agbenfaj Consulting. We are an organization registered in the UK to provide immigration advice. If application is refused, we go to tribunal to challenge it. And if anyone coming to the UK and your visa is cancelled at the point of entry, we have the capacity to help you to challenge the law. So today we're going to cover interview preps and tips, avoiding immigration scam, avoiding UK entry ban, sponsor, what are the sponsor and non-sponsor route, and the cost of sponsorship. And some of it has been covered by my colleague. And also we're going to do a bit of case studies so that we can reinforce what we've learned today. So more often than not, visa applications are either refused or granted, but there are times when a visa interview is deemed necessary to be conducted. So if the Home Office have reasonable belief that the application should not be granted, most cases, they will call for an interview. But if the application is granted, there's no need for interview. But if there are some concerns, some doubts, and the entry clearance officer, which we call the caseworker, feel it is necessary under evidential flexibility to give the opportunity for the applicant to address their concern, you will be called for an interview. If you are invited for interview, please take it seriously. Do enough preparation before you agree to attend the interview. And you must note that you could request for another date if the notice given to you is so short, and because that is what they do. They might call you on Tuesday for you to attend an interview on Wednesday or Thursday. Please do not accept the first offer. So request for another date so that you can do sufficient preparation. Otherwise, you risk for the application to be rejected and you forfeit the visa fee you have paid. So how do you prepare for this type of interview? So you need to review all the information submitted on the visa application. So remember, you are interviewed, you prepare your documentation. So when you are called, first thing you need to do, go and check. That is why you need to have a copy of your application, so that if you are called, review it, make sure you master everything, including the certificate of sponsorship and all the supporting documents, that because they might ask you questions. So another thing to prepare for is the recruitment processes. So how did you find the interview? On which website? What kind of question you are asked? Because there are certain information that your sponsor must have provided to the Home Office. If you are not able to demonstrate it, then you can be refused. So Then another thing is for you to demonstrate good understanding of the role you are coming. And funny enough, we see applicants being refused because they ask questions about, oh, what is an healthcare assistant? And they cannot answer it. Please don't allow Home Office to refuse and reject your application and put credibility doubt on your visa application. Another thing we see a lot is when people go for interview is they try to embellish their circumstances. Just say the truth. Don't, like my colleague just mentioned, don't talk too much. What is your name? My name is Gbenga Fashero. Simple as ABC. But where did you study? Mention it. Who is your current employer? So if you give inconsistent and discrepancy arises from your interview, you can be banned. So our advice is do mock interview 2 or 3 times so that you can be confident and you can, demonstrate why you have to come to the UK. So how do we avoid immigration scam? As we all know, the demand for this kind of visa route is too much than the supply. So therefore, many are being scammed now. But how do we avoid being scammed? So applying for and getting a job online without a proper interview should raise a red flag. Somebody can just send you an email that you are successful. You have not done an interview. Please don't be carried away. Just ignore such, especially if you get an email from Hotmail, and even if you get fake website. Do your study. Don't be scammed. And we are getting, and also you can get a Google Scholar. Somebody might phone you, pretend, oh, you submitted an application, we'll find your name. We want to do an interview for you. If you have not submitted any application to any organization you are called, ignore. Because what we see now is many people from Africa are just sending unsolicited CV and emails to several organizations. So this sometimes fall into the hands of scammers and they will use it against you. Be careful, please. Another one is you apply and someone is asking you for money and they want you to pay through some dodgy site. So what we have not, there's a website called PaySafeCard, WooCash. Please be careful. You have friends, you have us, you have Kimberly. If you are not sure, seek for support and advice. And if anybody should request for your bank account when you have not done an interview, you've not applied for their role, please do not do that. This is very crucial. The Home Office can impose entry ban on people who have previously breached immigration law or used deception in their application for leave, except for minor exception. You will not be allowed to re-enter the UK during the length of any ban. So first one is to be, if you have a criminal proceeding against you and you have been sentenced to prison for more than 12 months, either in the UK or abroad, if the Home Office is aware, you will not be allowed to come to the UK. If you have, in the past, used false documents as part of your application, you'll be banned 10 years. That is what Home Office, the standard. If you have used false representation, when we say false, it means any incorrect or misleading. For example, there's an application form, have you been to the UK before? And you tick no, and there's an evidence you've been here before, that is misleading. You can be banned for that. Sometimes we can have what we call genuine mistake. This is where you need to make sure when you are filling your application form, you check and you tick the right boxes. If you are not sure, seek advice. Sometimes a new mistake can be misconstrued as false representation and deception too. They are similar. So in terms of previous breaches, if you have been refused before, there's no need to not to disclose it. If you've been refused, that doesn't mean your new application will be refused. So you just need to address the reason for your refusal and now justify why you are making the new application. Previous breaches, example, someone that came here on holiday and overstayed their welcome, they may be banned if they want to re-enter into the UK. This is common now. We've seen when someone have been issued a visa and their circumstances have changed, at the point of entry, the immigration officer are now checking. So a typical example that happened to one of our clients last month, a student that got a visa and was coming back, and before entering into the UK, the evidence of fund have changed, and it was stopped, and they asked him to provide evidence. He couldn't do that. But it was lucky that we know the law. We challenged the decision to cancel the visa. Another area of change in circumstances is before you apply, your sponsor have withdrew your sponsorship. Yeah, is that they will just. That is why you need to keep that relationship with your sponsor for you to understand whether they are still abiding by the terms and conditions of their own sponsorship. So if their sponsorship is cancelled, there's no way a visa can be given to you. So my colleague have mentioned different kind of options for you, but today I'm just going to touch a little bit on, because UK is very open at the moment. We have different options for people coming to the UK. If you have degree and you don't want to come under healthcare, if you're able to find a job, that's why we put sponsored. Some options require you to have a sponsor, whether it's an employer, whether it's a university, whether it's an endorsing body. You apply and you'll be given the opportunity to come to the UK. Under the skilled worker, which is what somebody asked a question about, Tier 2. On the 1st of December 2020, Tier 2 was renamed as skilled worker route. So under it, we have also Minister of Religion for anyone who is the pastor or minister or music professional that can work under the church. So there's an option for Minister of Religion. So it's previously it was called Tier 2 Minister of Religion. So what they're on that. Then there's a new one that just started on the 11th of February, Global Business Mobility, for professionals who want to come and they are working abroad, they want to come and represent their organization in the UK. Then we have the short term. These are for religious and charity workers. So some of these do not lead to settlement. So another option that is available is when people don't want to come on student visa, you have an idea and you want to come and set up your business in the UK, you don't even need an investment fund, just an idea. You can pitch your idea to some endorsing body. That is why we call it. So you don't need a job for that. You just need an idea, and it's somehow expensive, but somehow easier than student. If you don't want to come and study, you will be given 2 years, and you can work at the same time running your business. But if you are very experienced and you are very solvent, you have got a huge sum of money in your account, you can go for innovator visa that require you to have £50,000 as investment. So endorsing body want to see that fund before you can be issued a visa. There's another one called Global Talent. This is for people who are talented and they are known by the sector they belong to, especially the IT. If you're a programmer, software, cybersecurity, under technician are looking for those individuals. So you submit an application, very robust with supporting document and references. Endorsing body will give you letter of endorsement and you can go, and this will lead to settlement. So thank you. So there's always financial implication. Councillor B mentioned that some employers will ask you to pay because it has financial implication on them as well. Similarly to even applicants. So as a business organization in the UK, if you want to sponsor healthcare worker, you need to make an application to the Home Office. So they have to, for a small organization, they have to pay £536. For large sponsor is 1,000, just for them to be assessed as suitable or not. If you are suitable, you'll be given sponsor license. And some of them are A-rated. If your sponsor is A-rated and they are kind enough, they can help you by ticking the box that Councillor B mentioned, that they will guarantee the maintenance. You don't need to show evidence of bank statement. And that is for only A-rated sponsor. If they are not A-rated, then it is compulsory for you to have the adequate maintenance fund in your account. So on every that is issued, the employer have to pay £199. So, and also there is also a levy again, which is a tax. If you are sponsored for 5 years for small organization, Home Office expect them to pay 1,820 within that 5 years. So it's a large organization, they have to pay equivalent of 5,000 within 5 years. That is why they have to monitor you. You will sign a bond. Some organization will ask you to pay that money, you know. So for an individual, I think the fee I've mentioned here might be a wee bit different. So Councillor B mentioned NARIC. We encourage our applicants to use NARIC. Why? Because if you want to apply for settlement, every time you have to go and be doing English language, it has financial implication. NARIC, under the immigration rule, is allowed because what you do is the conversion. You convert your English ability to that of UK. If you have a degree, NARIC will assess you and give you a letter that your certificate is equivalent to the one of bachelor degree in the UK. But it comes as a cost, and the good thing is if it's a bachelor degree, you'll be given B1 or even more than B1, which enables you to not to worry about English language tests until you become settled in the UK. So that, TB test is one of the requirements. You might be eligible if you are not able to demonstrate that you have taken your TB test, your application might be refused. And also there is a visa fee application as well. So when you consider all these things, we need to be prepared. We need to ensure we have adequate fund in our account before we can be issued a visa. So in order to, I want us to please take our time and let us look at this, because it could be one of your friends, it could be your brother, it could be your auntie, and with the training we've had today. So let us, and I want it to be interactive, please. So luckily we have someone called Kimberly here. So Kimberly entered the UK as a visitor on 24th December 2013 and left on the 25th December 2017. Maybe Kimberly decided to say, oh, UK is so cold and I want to go back and enjoy my Christmas holiday in Cameroon. Oh, in Togo. This is in Togo. So Kimberly is a non-British national and resides in Togo with her spouse and 2 children. So at the moment, today, in 2022, Kimberly is working for an NGO and caring. So that means she's got an experience working in the healthcare sector. So luckily, she's got a GCSE, that is first living certificate, high school, and possess healthcare training as well. So she's keen to relocate to the UK as healthcare migrant. So the question to all of us is, will she satisfy the requirement of health and care visa based on what we've learned? Please, I want someone who is there who can tell us based on your own understanding. The floor is open, please. And then 2 volunteers. Just for us to reinforce. Let's have a chat, please. Anyone confident?
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
So Kimberly entered the UK as a visitor on the 24th of December 2013 and left on the 25th of December 2017. That's already a big clue to answer that question below.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, I'm going to enter that.
So we've decided to throw this question to us because when we are here, a lot of advice will come our way. We just want to emphasize the implication of some of our decisions. Okay, thank you, OT Consulting and BIM Karen.
Good evening. Sorry, it's me at my end anyway. So I'm going to assume that Kimberly entering the UK as a visitor on 24th December 2013 to 2017 on a visitor visa has already violated a number of rules there. So I think she's going to have serious problem going back to the UK anyhow.
Thank you very much. Yeah, over to you, Bim.
My response is exactly what she gave. So same thing, if she came on the 24th of December 2013, leaving on the 25th of December 2017 will mean that her visitor visa was probably either of a lifespan of less than 4 years, I assume, because if her visitor visa was 4 years, then she will still be in the margin, I suppose. But if it was something less, then she would have violated the rules.
Okay, thank you very much. So because of our time, avoiding UK entry ban. So that's something I mentioned here, previous breaches. If you are given a visitor visa, sometimes, you have submitted an application and you say, oh, at any point in time, you cannot stay here more than 6 months. Anything above 6 months becomes violation, as mentioned by OT Consulting. So, and another thing we need to be mindful is in your application, you must have demonstrated it's either you are working, you are schooling, you have a work, and some of them will even say, oh, they are on holiday and they've provided evidence of a leave of absence, and you decided to stay. And that is what we call you have overstayed in the UK, and that warrant an entry ban. So sometimes you might qualify for a route, and because of what you have done in the past, that might be considered negatively on the application. And that is one of the reasons why we decided to use this as a case study. If we remove the first sentence, Kimberly will qualify. Please, I'm imploring us to abide by the terms and conditions of any visa given to you. My colleague mentioned the issue of if you are here and you want to find a second job, under the law, you are allowed to do what we call supplementary work, additional 20 hours. But if you work more than that and you have not disclosed it, you can have consequences. So thank you. So another one case study is that Kimberly, assuming Kimberly is age 17 years, has never lived anywhere else except home country. So that means he has not been here and he wants to relocate to the UK. Can anybody tell us whether Kimberly now will satisfy the requirement of the rule? Please let it interactive, please. Okay, but you again, we need someone else, please. Okay, go ahead, babe. Yeah, please go ahead. Thank you.
I'll just attempt a response.
Yeah.
By first of all asking a question about the age requirement.
Yes.
In order for a visa, an HCA visa to be granted to anyone. Is it below 17 or 17 and above? Because if it is 17 and above, then she will be eligible. But if it's 17 and below, then that age factor is going to probably affect her application.
Thank you very much. You got it. So on a majority of the applications in the UK, you must be over the age of 18. That is what we call age of majority. So just to create awareness here, it is important for you to understand the eligibility criteria. So anyone can come to you and tell you you qualify. Please ask question. Can I see the requirement of that route you are presenting to me? Because as it is, 17-year-old Kimberly, with the experience, everything, she qualified to apply, but on age requirement alone, failed the test. You know, imagine the financial implication, and the application have to be refused because of eligibility under the age requirement. So the last one. So assuming Kimberly previously applied for student visa to pursue postgraduate study and was refused in February 2022, that was just 2 months ago. And because of this presentation, Kimberly is aware that, oh, I can apply to come to the UK under another visa route now. So in the application she submitted to the Home Office, she demonstrated that she worked for as a digital marketer for a company in Togo, UAC Limited. And now she wants to apply. So we should be able to satisfy the requirement of healthcare visa. Anyone? So what we're trying to tell you here is more about the technicality involved when people come to us. We ask this kind of question, and Home Office, they say each application will be considered on their own merit. That doesn't mean they will not look at your past record with them. And this is where we mention change in circumstances, right? Please, can anyone answer? Please. Or is this so difficult, or is it too technical for us? Can somebody help me, please? Okay, because of our time, yes, Kimberly is qualified, but Kimberly needs to demonstrate that this is for genuine purpose, because the previous application has demonstrated that she was doing digital marketing, right? But at the same time, she might have another job that she has not really disclosed, or because she was caring for her elderly mom. Yeah, so being refused is not sufficient for her not to make the second application, because many of us have our second life. Yeah, so because she has the ability to look after her mom, She have done some training. So in the new application, she just needs to be honest. She needs to be sincere. I applied for that and it was refused. Have you been refused before? Yes. Are you going? So in this case, they might call her for interview and she just have to be articulate and be honest. But if she wants to try for the new one and she embellish or pretend to and may not want to disclose that she has been refused before, that can get her re-entry ban. Thank you very much. Any question for us?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barrister Fash. Thank you for clarifying certain things on the visa. I have a question which was asked earlier, and that's regarding the Tier 2 visa, okay? So can you explain, I know you mentioned that a Tier 2 visa was renamed as a skilled worker visa. Can you explain what that visa is?
Tier 2, previously we call it, what does it work? What is the name of this? It's workers route, you know. So you need to apply.
Skilled worker route.
Yeah, you know, that is the new name. Working visa is you need to have a sponsor that you apply, and the company will decide to issue you a work visa. So they change it to Tier 2. You know, under point-based system, we have different kinds: Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 4, and Tier 5. We never had Tier 3. So under Tier 2, we changed work permit. Yes, work permit order was changed to Tier 2. So on the 1st of December, the same, because it's a different party now, Conservative, they changed because we are using the Australian system now. So they move it from point-based system to this skilled worker. It's the same thing. You need to have a job from a UK registered sponsor. The company must have obtained a license and you'll be given certificate of sponsorship. So there's no difference between, it's just a change of name. Yeah.
Okay, so Blessing had highlighted on this in her presentation, and she mentioned that when you're looking for a job online, you want a job that clearly states Tier 2 and can recruit from abroad. Is that correct, Blessing?
That's right. So in the some organization will be given sponsor license called undefined. Undefined means they can employ somebody from the UK. Then you have defined, that will be from abroad. You understand? So, and most allocation for skilled worker are always easier when we call undefined in the UK, but defined abroad. But because we have shortage of personnel who can do, and we are living longer, you know, somebody maybe 10 years ago, something that can kill you, we can manage and people can prolong their life. And because of COVID-19 again, we have what we call great resignation. Many people don't want to do certain job again, you know, or many people are moving to tech-related jobs because of high pay, and that is leaving huge gap. And that is why the country is so hopeful. And it's not only UK, it happens in America, in Spain, everywhere. So, well, this is a very good country to come. And let's continue to apply, and hopefully we'll be here.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. So I'm sure it probably looks like an impossibility to obtain this visa, but I know quite a few people who have come through from Cameroon under the healthcare visa. Okay, so they were able to have jobs. Blessing, I want you to answer on this. Okay, how much work is required, you know, to be able to? I mean, how much dedication is required to be able to look for a job online? Because like you mentioned that you can set alerts, okay, but it requires a certain level of dedication to it, because we highlighted that people are taking advantage of desperate people. Because I have a question here. This person is asking, If you are a holder of advanced level only, you have no experience in the healthcare industry, what can be the easiest way to grant a healthcare visa or visa to the UK? So I'm a bit concerned about this because it's very easy to fall into the wrong hands, and those people can take advantage of you, and then you realize that you pay so much money and you're not able to come to the UK. Blessing highlighted that you need to get some experience as a healthcare professional, not a professional, but just get some experience to boost your CV. That will give you an opportunity, a chance. So it's not about leaving your home country immediately. It's about getting that experience, building your CV. It takes some time to put work into it, and then you set those alerts looking for employment. So you need to familiarize yourself with the website and every procedure, which we're going to send to you after this webinar. So Blessing, my question to you was, can you just highlight again, because I said that there's lots of people who have come here as healthcare assistants. So can you highlight again the amount of dedication that is required to be able to do this, so people do not fall prey to people who are going to extort them of so many millions, like a lot of money. Okay, so just highlight on that, please.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing that up, because I think that's very important. So it really requires dedication. I think if we must succeed in anything, then it needs our time, it needs our commitment. So if the healthcare assistant, route is what you want to do, or the route you really want to take to come to the UK, then you need to put your time to it. As Kim has shared, it's not just going to come, like immediately. You need to constantly put in the work that is required. So if you've applied, you've not had positive feedbacks, you don't need to stop there. And just as Kim is sharing, yes, there are people who are getting sponsorship visas to come to the UK as healthcare assistants. I've personally mentored someone, a couple of people, and I do have someone coming in hopefully next month as a healthcare assistant. So it's very possible. So it's not an impossibility, but again, it requires the work. These people have had to put in the work. I must be again very honest about one thing that I've realized with the healthcare assistant visas. So I've seen a couple of people who have come in and they've come in on some sort of arranged, but well, not arranged. They've got of course they have the experience and all of that, but what has happened is, say for example, I was working in an organization, for example in a care home, and I walk up to my manager and say, oh, I've really got this brother I'd like to bring in. Are you able to provide sponsorship for them? So there's some kind of arrangement between that employer already there, that employee already there with the employer, to bring someone in. They have to meet the criteria. Unfortunately, with programs like this, there are no short corners. One thing I've noticed is other people have come to me saying, oh, I've got this amount of money, what do I do? How can I just get into this thing? No, there's no short corners. And if you try to take shortcuts, it might not catch up with you now. And as Barrister Fasha shared with us, in his wonderful presentation, it may catch up with you later, and you could be banned from entering the UK, for a lifetime. So whatever you're doing, be careful. People will come to you deceiving you and promising you, to get you this, get you that. I've seen people buying out result online. It will obviously catch up with you. They are very good detectors that will detect those things. So again, try not to fall prey. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people would rather pay millions of money than, if you say, oh, this is what you should do, as we've shared here today, some people are still going to fall prey. You're going to fall into the hands of agencies that will tell you, oh, bring 3 million. I've seen a lot of that, bring 6 million. And we have people who are willing to pay that because they don't want to put in the work. You want to cut corners. You think they will make everything easy for you? No. So it needs you need to be determined and ready to do this. You need to put in the work that is required. All what we've shared here, this is the procedure. If someone else is telling you anything else, I'm sorry, you will fall a victim. So you really, really need to be careful. But the encouraging thing is, it's so possible people are coming to the UK. So it could be you. Why not you if others are? It just needs you. It just needs your commitment. It just needs your dedication. And I'm very sure after today, a lot more of you will be getting employers after I'm hearing all of this today.
Thank you for that word of encouragement, Blessing. I have a question from Vivian. I really do apologize because I think we may run over the time just so we can answer all your questions, okay? We're 1 minute to the closing time, but I have a few questions which are still unanswered. And if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat box so we can clear all your doubts before you leave this place today. So I have a question from Vivian. She's saying that to progress from a healthcare to nursing, you mentioned that without a nursing background, you do a 1-year foundation program and finish as a nursing associate and then do an 18 months course. What's the name of the 18 months course?
So you do a foundation course, 1 year, then you'd have to do an 18 months course to become a nursing associate. So which is almost like, you know, almost like a nurse, but you're not a full-time nurse. You cannot be registered as a full-time nurse. Then you still need to do an 18 months course to top it up, to become a full-time registered nurse. I mean, this is just like a breakdown of the path you would have to take as a whole. So for example, if you don't want to go straight into nursing, you can absolutely go into nursing. So you've not been trained, never been trained as a nurse before, and you want to go into nursing, it's a 4-year course in the UK, which starts with that 1-year foundation class or foundation course. So if you want to just go straight into the full-time 4-year nursing course, absolutely. But if you want to start from somewhere, you know, maybe to do that foundation course whilst you're working as an SGA, then get into being a nurse associate. You could do that, you know, and that could be bringing you some money in, maybe a little bit more. And then whilst you're doing that, you could as well complete your 18-month course to be a nurse. So these are just 2 different routes, and either way is fine.
Okay, thank you. So there was also something you mentioned about taking volunteering, okay, for people who want to boost their careers. If there's a doctor in the house, I would like to know if it's possible to volunteer in a hospital, because I'm not very sure how that works. And I think that it's important. So Adele, would you be okay answering that question and the possibility of, Adele, are you okay to unmute yourself and answer that question on the possibility of volunteering and what ways people in Cameroon can do to boost their CV? I mean, just to show some health experience.
Okay, thanks. Yes, I'm okay, Kim, to answer. It's very possible to volunteer at a hospital. I think it just takes an application and an acceptance thereafter. And usually it goes for a couple of months or as long as you, the volunteer, are available to do. Definitely, if you're volunteering, if you have to volunteer as a nurse, you should have had a background in nursing. If you have to volunteer as maybe a lab tech, you would obviously have had preliminary a background in that domain. So yes, it's pretty possible. It's very, very possible in private, like public health facilities all over Cameroon. I think it's quite easy to volunteer in whatever field you choose.
Okay, so what about people who do not have any healthcare background? So does that mean they need to go enroll in a school? Is it what are the options? Because I see some questions coming through, and I just want to clear that before anybody falls prey into anything.
I want to believe very likely so. I'm saying this without being very certain, I'm sorry, but I want to believe so because most at the post of volunteering, you're actually working true that it's a, it's a learning process, but you're in effect applying what you already should have learned. So if you don't have any background whatsoever, say you are maybe into tech and you want to do, it will not be possible to do a volunteer as a nurse in a hospital without any background whatsoever. So you would very likely have to be in school first, or taking some course.
Okay, all right. Right, so that answers the question. Thank you. So there's another question from Adele. Can skilled worker visa lead to permanent stay? Barrister Fash, can you please take that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So after living here after being with the same employer or different employer, once you're on that route, either with company A that brought you into the UK or another company that you switch over to in-country for 5 years, you are entitled to apply for settlement. Yeah, because under Set O. Yeah, it leads to settlement.
Okay. Okay, so Karine is asking, what's the likelihood to be issued a visa without sponsorship from an employer in the UK? Must there be proof of employment before immigration? This question has been answered.
The question is, so
yeah.
There's so many visa options that you can take if you don't want. So one example is the startup. If you cannot get sponsorship, you cannot come under certain category. Well, you just need to understand the category and don't fall prey into anybody promising you that you can come under ski worker without sponsor. That's not possible. So because there's a certificate of sponsorship, and it's a number that will be given to you once you are filling the form. Without that number there, your application cannot even be submitted. So you need to be careful. And if you know you are not likely to get sponsorship, you can look for options like startup. Yeah, you have an idea, you want to change the world, your idea must be innovative, scalable, and viable. And you have to submit a business plan to an endorsing body. Once they review it and they love your concept, you'll be given a visa. You can work and at the same time be doing your business. Yeah. And somebody asked a question here that can you switch from tier 1, which is more like a startup visa, to this? Yes, you can switch in country. Yeah. The good thing about once you are here in the UK, there are so many options for you to switch to. So the most important thing is get it right from point of entry.
Okay. Hepzibah, you have a question. Can you please unmute to ask your question?
Okay, it has already been taken by Barrister Benga, so I'm fine with it. It had to do with settlement. That's if you are taking if you're HCA worker, if you're coming in as an HCA worker, what will this route of that visa lead you to settlement? He said yes, after 5 years, you could apply for settlement. So I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Right. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, are there any more questions? Can your sponsor be anyone else other than your employer?
So your sponsor is your employer. So there is a duty on your employer to monitor your activity in the UK. And if they fail to do so, they can lose their license. So around 2010, we've seen one of the biggest universities in Manchester, one in Glasgow, were not able to satisfy the requirement in terms of monitoring, and their sponsor license was suspended. So imagine the impact on the financial circumstances of those universities. Some employer may even lose their sponsorship if they are not able to monitor it. Sorry, that is not possible under the system that operates in the UK at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for answering. And there's a question from Karen. Is there usually a reason attached by visa office to a denial or grant visa to a candidate? I don't know. Can you understand that question?
Yes, I would do. So the good thing about us is we are very transparent in the UK, unlike America, where you can be rejected or refused, and they just give you a paper without telling you why. In the UK, you'll be given reason for refusal. So when people come to us, if you tell me anything, I want to see your reason for refusal. And that was we used to challenge the decision of the Home Office. So Home Office cannot just refuse you without telling you why the application was refused. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for saying that. I have a few questions. Let's see. So Barrister Fash, you mentioned that sponsorship can be withdrawn. So under what circumstances can an employer withdraw your sponsorship in the process of application?
Okay, so it's a very good question and complicated one. Number one, sometimes the employer too might have problem with the Home Office, right? So because sponsor license is valid for 4 years and they have to renew it. So if they are not able to satisfy the requirements when they are renewing, and maybe in the process you'll be issued, they have to. Then another thing, maybe something come to light in terms of deception or the applicant is not able, like for example, maintenance. So if you are not able to have adequate maintenance or you are not able to pass the English language, so they will not want to, risk their monitoring that they are sponsoring someone that cannot satisfy the requirement, they might cancel. Yeah, or
okay.
Like my colleague mentioned, Blessing, that there could be an arrangement where the authorizing decided to issue certificates of sponsorship, and they found out that it was a bogus arrangement. Anything could happen. Yeah.
Right. Okay, there's another question, and this is related to dependents. So at the time of application, you can come to the UK with your dependents. Is that correct?
The system here is
okay.
So sympathetic. Many of the visa routes allow you to come with your family. Family, what we mean by family is your spouse and your children, not your uncle, not your auntie, because we have a specific definition for family member. So you might have a cousin somewhere, no. You might have your brother, no. They are husband and wife and their children. Not even adopted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So and the income, so your salary as a healthcare assistant is supposed to be 20,400 and something you mentioned. So what are the chances of you able to live in the UK with that sum of money? Because the UK appears to be, the UK is expensive considering everything that's happening now. So can you just talk to me a little bit, Blessing, about the cost of living and if that payment is sufficient enough for you to live comfortably here in the UK?
Okay, thank you very much. That's an interesting question. UK has a high standard of living, but as an individual, the way you would manage your income would also depend on your standards of living, because there are different options. For example, if you choose to, as an individual, say for example, you don't have any family with you, you're a single person, and you decide to stay in a 3-bedroom house, for example, of course, you're going to spend more. But if you were living in a shared accommodation, maybe a single room, in a way you're saving, you're managing your resources. So again, it will all depend on how you decide to manage that income. It's true, it's a high living standard, but it depends on what you do with your income, for example. And there are lots of things you have to cater for in terms of bills itself in the UK. For example, your accommodation, your feeding, you pay tax. Normally from your monthly income, you'd have to pay tax. You have to pay insurance. You have to pay council tax depending on what sort of accommodation you stay in. You have to cater for your electricity bills. If you've got things like Wi-Fi, if you've got a car, you need to pay insurance on that car. You need to pay tax on that car. You need to pay, you need to make sure the car, is serviced every year. So, lots of different things. So it depends on, the sort of things you have. For example, if you're paying TV license, you're paying monthly. If you decide not to have a TV license, then you don't pay, So those sort of things will depend on, what your living standards are as an individual, added to what the living standards of UK are. So yes, it's quite possible to live on that income, but again, you cannot basically live from, what's the word, like hand to mouth, so the system, the UK system, they have room for that, and that's why you've got room to do those extra shifts as well, to make up for those sort of extra things you like to do. You've got family back home, and all of that. Yeah, so there's room for you to earn a little bit more to meet up.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. So what I want to say to everybody who has participated today, because we do have your emails, what we would do is we would send you a checklist of everything you need to do, okay, to be able to apply for a healthcare visa. All right, we'll send you that checklist. And we would also, from time to time, I'm going to be sending you job openings, okay, for tier 2, but it's also your responsibility to check the websites, which I'm going to share with you in an email after the webinar. So keep an eye on your email sometime within the coming week, because it's a weekend and it's also a public holiday on Monday. We're not working. So just keep an eye on your email in the upcoming week. We're going to be sharing those links. And as we've mentioned, you need to update your CV. You need to work on yourself, okay? You need to be very determined. However, be careful, because there's lots of people out there who would come and deceive you, and you can fall prey and pay money. So put in the work, apply for the jobs as much as you can. If you need any form of assistance, if you have any questions, please send us an email, and we're very responsive. Okay, send us an email either by email or on social media or what have you. And we would provide you with information to the best of our ability. But trust me, it's a dangerous world out there, and we do not want to, because you're part of our community, we want to be able to ensure that you're guided correctly. Okay, so we've come to the end. We've gone 16 minutes over the time, so I apologize for your data and everything, but I hope that the information you've had here is credible. I mean, has just given you the confidence to know that you too are eligible. And there's lots of Cameroonians or Nigerians or Zimbabweans, because I know there's a Zimbabwean on here. There's lots of people who have come in here to the UK as healthcare assistants. If you're an A-level person, please get some more training, okay? Because you would fall prey, because there's some aspect of desperation on there. So get yourself a bit more training. Put yourself in a school, formal education, so that you can have more training to give you better opportunities or, some advantage. Because like we said, the recruitment is happening across the world. So you want to be able to stand out. You want to be able to qualify, right? That's what matters. And with A-level, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not going to be easy, okay? So please, 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 do that, and also look out for an email from us. Also, if you're interested in studying abroad, so we do offer study abroad services. So you can reach out to us. Okay, we have quite a good number of countries. Like I mentioned, we've been running a study abroad series, and we've been covering different countries. So because we do have your emails, we're going to send you an email, and if you're interested, you can join the next webinar. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. So it just depends on the stakes, okay? So please, please subscribe to Passports Beyond Borders on our website and also on social media. Barrister Fash also shared his link. If you need any immigration services, if you've applied to the UK and maybe your visa has been rejected for one reason or the other, you can reach out to us and we can also provide some sort of assistance, okay? Yeah, so we do provide that study abroad service. And if you're looking to move to any country, like I mentioned, we do have articles on our website, so you can go to our website and just enter the name of that country. If we do not have that information, we can always look into something for you. And if we do not have that information, I'm going to tell you upfront that we do not have it yet, because we're still a work in progress and we're still trying to collate everything that people need to be able to make that decision to be able to just have a seamless transition into that new country. All right, so we've come to the end of this presentation. OT Consulting, I would like to give you a shout out because OT Consulting is the consultant we have for study abroad. So if you've been following us, she's the one we've been having that series with, and she's here today. So you see, I mean, knowledge is so important. There's one thing that you would learn that would help somebody tomorrow. So shout out to OT Consulting. And we also have a feedback form. Please look in the chat box. I want to hear your feedback, what you thought about this webinar today, how we can make it better, because we always want to improve. We are looking for ways to really help people and we always want to improve. So please fill out the feedback form. It should take only 2 to 5 minutes, okay? We just want to know what we can improve for next time and we can provide something better. We were hoping to have like lots of quizzes and games, but due to time constraints, because we're all working and we're doing this, due to time constraints, we couldn't put it together well. So it was not going to be possible. But next time, I promise you, it's going to be really fun. It's going to be, I mean, so much fun, all right? Please fill out that feedback form. Please follow us on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn if you're there. And remember, LinkedIn is also an important aspect of looking for a job, all right? So you must not come to the UK as a healthcare assistant. You can create a LinkedIn profile, build a profile, and also get jobs from there, because I'm a living example, because my husband got a job from Cameroon on LinkedIn and we're currently in the UK. So anything is possible, all right? So please build a LinkedIn profile, and those things are very effective. Okay, I think I've said too much and I do not want to take too much of your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Barrister Fash. It was such a pleasure having you. Thank you, Blessing. It was such a pleasure. You shared so much of your experience and everything. Thank you so much. And to everybody who joined us here, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to have you in our community. Okay, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye,